Hi, friends. Hi, friends. Welcome to the Putting You Back Together Again show. I'm Rochelle Booker, a.k.a. Coach Ro.
And I'm C.J. Joseph, C-E-E-J-A-Y, her part-time co-host. And as it is my custom, I'm back in the building, y'all.
Yes, he is. He makes his presence felt.
Yeah.
So today, we're talking about the dark side of the entertainment business. There have been many high-profile entertainers who have engaged in criminal activity. What a surprise. Our discussion will be centered on Diddy's indictment. Are the charges against Puff Daddy puffed up? He hasn't been convicted in the court of law because his trial hasn't started yet, but he has been convicted in the court of public opinion. Or has he not? That's what we're going to talk about. The verdict of the public perception is in. And now let's be clear. These are some serious charges against Diddy. And they are actually, I think, on a federal level. I think they're federal charges.
Yes.
And
the feds are involved.
Their feds are involved, yeah. And there are like the top three charges that I'm aware of are racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. And there are some videos out there that really demonstrate the types of activities he was engaged in. So it's going to be hard to build a defense against these charges.
But apparently he's going to fight tooth and nail.
Yeah.
He's going to testify. He's not going to cop to a plea agreement or what have you. But, you know, we're going to dive into this and see where it takes us. And we hope that you chime in, because I know y'all been talking about it.
Yes.
I know y'all been talking about it. Come on. Give us a shout. Chime in with us on this hot topic, the demise of Diddy.
Of Diddy. Did he do it?
Yeah, Diddy not? Diddy do it? Diddy not?
We want to hear from
you. Not my Diddy!
We want to hear from you. And the interesting is Rodney Jones, who's a music producer, also filed a $30 million lawsuit. His allegations include a conspiracy with his music industry associates. So those people in his circle, right? Yep. Claiming that they benefited from facilitating his alleged unlawful behavior.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. That circle, man.
Yeah. Right. So,
monitor your, or as the term would say, audit your circle.
Yeah, you have to. And so, and this gave those people in his circle powerful connections, access to powerful connections. Yeah. And so, because I always scratch my head and wonder, why do people turn a blind eye to it? You know, because you've got so much activity going on, especially, at the level with high profile celebrities and entertainers. And they're not in a closet doing this. There are people in their circle, friends, colleagues, who are fully aware of what's going on, but they choose to go along with it, turn a blind eye to it. Why is that?
Well, I was going to say one thing. I'm going to still say that. But another thing that actually comes to mind, when you get into the high-profile celebrities or just individuals in society, they can actually have you sign an NDA. A non-disclosure agreement, meaning that what you see, you can't talk about, right?
Even if it's unlawful activities.
Well, but then that's where it comes on you.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And what you think your soul, what your mind, what your spirit can handle. So, but yeah, I'm certain there are NDAs that exist. I had an audition recently, and I unfortunately can't name the studio.
Yeah, right.
But I had to sign an NDA prior to sending in the audition.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The second thing is access
to
whatever Money
Mm-hmm.
plays a part.
Yeah, it does.
The social media status,
Mm-hmm.
being around in that type of environment, or that person or persons.
Yeah.
All of those things play a part, because you got a taste of that kind of life,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to let it go. You don't want to Frankie Beverly and Maze that thing before I let it go.
Well, otherwise it might be like the song, "You're gonna have a TKO if you don't let it go."
Yes.
So,
Yes.
you know, you've got to be careful. And we just talked about a show on idolatry. This sounds like some idol worshiping going on here.
Well, there is.
Because, yeah, you got a taste, but how do you have a conscience and just let all that go because you just want more money, more power, more status? Is it really worth it?
Because the flesh.
Yes, is weak.
The flesh is weak, weaker than the spirit.
Yeah.
And that makes a difference. And perhaps all of us have been subjected to that at some point, at some level.
Yeah.
This is a different level.
Very different.
And this is not just dealing with, I mean, specifically we're talking about P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, I mean, all these AKAs, Love, all of these things. But he's not the only one.
No, there's a list.
There's a litany of folks.
Yes.
Epstein and
Bill Cosby.
And
Russell Simmons.
All of them. All of them.
And you know, some have been convicted.
Yeah.
Some, you know, the indictments, but you know, they either dropped, the cases were dismissed, or you know, or they settled, I guess, out of court. But you know, that happens. Yes. Do we have a comment?
No, ma'am. I would like to interject something. I never got the full story. This is related, but unrelated.
Okay.
It's related because all of this is relative when it comes to these celebrities. I just got entangled with the Surviving R. Kelly series, and this is relative. They're all doing the same things.
Yeah.
I never got all the details of R. Kelly until 3 nights ago.
Oh, so you got entangled with the documentary. Okay, we just want to make sure.
No.
Yeah, like, wait a minute now.
I'm just joking.
We're gonna do a story about this.
No.
We got breaking news.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
That,
Clarify.
Yeah, I got entangled with the documentary of Surviving R. Kelly Part 1, 2, and 3, I believe, and they're all doing the same things. They're all sex trafficking, and I brought this up to elaborate on the question that was put in place by Ms. Rochelle. She said, "Why are they doing it?" Throughout the whole R. Kelly documentary, money, because he's making billions of dollars, millions of dollars for the late record labels. He's making millions of dollars for the venues, and then his entourage, he's spoiling them to death.
Yeah,
his whole entourage was behind him trafficking people, and they never said anything because he was paying them big money.
Right.
And it's the same thing here.
Yeah. So that's basically what I was saying is, you're in that circle, and because there's money, there's access to whatever you want access to.
Right.
So you turn a blind eye to it because your flesh, even though you're not participating in the physical activity, but you are engaging in the benefits thereof. So you turn a blind eye to it.
Well, and I think that's being complicit. If you're being complicit, I think you need to go down like dominoes. You know how you stack up your dominoes and you push one and they all fall?
Yes.
I think it needs to be a domino effect, because you can't just stand on the sideline and see all this stuff going on, women getting raped and abused, and just, you know, go along with it because you want more money, more status, more power. You need to, if you're gonna, you know, pay to play, you're gonna also have to pay and go to jail and pay the consequences of standing idly by and not intervening and helping these victims.
Well, and this is nothing new. This has been going on
for years,
decades.
Yes,
decades before R. Kelly,
before social media,
thought of.
All of it.
With the rock and roll era.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all decades. So this is nothing new.
Nothing new,
Yeah.
nothing new. And according to some reports, Diddy's head of security, Fahim Muhammad, had the power to make people and problems disappear. This is nothing short of the mafia. This sounds like a mob, like the Godfather. I'm like, this is unbelievable.
You know what? It's unbelievable, but then it's really not. Just because of the fact when you have that kind of power and influence and money, you're able to coerce people to do what you want them to do.
That's right.
Because of money.
Because of money.
Because
Yeah.
of money.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's the love of money that's the root to all evil. It's the love of money. And that's what happens. That's why they get caught up in these entanglements, because of their love for money, their lust for money.
Yep.
Yeah.
It all boils down back. You can just trace everything back to the root of the mighty dollar.
Yes.
The mighty dollar.
Money, money, money.
Is it'll make you holler in ways that you want to be hollered
That's
at.
right. And people will be quick to say, oh, I would never do this, never do that. Soon as they start shaking some money at you, that will entice you and ensnare you to do almost anything, the unthinkable.
I heard of another side story of Justin Bieber. Have y'all heard that one?
I don't think so.
Justin Bieber is coming out and he's saying that they would invite people to these parties. As soon as you come in, they tell you, you're the guest of honor. Take your shirt off and celebrate with us. As soon as you take your shirt off, they start pouring money on you. Like you said, money the root of all evil. They start pouring money on you, you partying. Next thing you know, you're being sexualized by everybody there.
Yeah.
Whether it's a transsexual, a man, a female, it does not matter. That's what Justin Bieber said. Now, that was in a vlog. And some of these vloggers aren't always accurate.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not always truthful, but I read that in a vlog.
Oh, okay.
Well, you never know what happens at these parties.
Yeah.
And again, this is nothing new to the
Nothing
scene.
new.
If you look at some of these old documentaries and old shows
Yeah.
from back in the day, where you walk in on TV shows.
Yeah.
For instance, what was it? Denzel Washington and not Training Day. The other one, he was a drug dealer, Frank something. And you
American Gangster?
American Gangster. So you walk into the living room and you have the women in just their underwear and people are snorting cocaine and things of that nature. Nothing new.
That's a real depiction.
Yeah,
of what's
nothing
going
new.
on. That's reality.
Nothing new. Anything goes. Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
And we have just become sellouts. We are just on the sideline, just exploiting women, exploiting people, and sex trafficking. Now, keep in mind, some of these are minors. Some of these are children.
Yeah.
So I've got a problem with that. I don't care if they're adults or children, but I got a problem with that. And let's talk about why some parents allow these children to go on these casting calls without them being present. Why isn't there some, oversight to this, some supervision? And because I guess there's that trust factor.
Well,
we trust these people.
It's the aura of that person, whoever that person may be. In this case, it's P. Diddy.
Yeah.
That aura, or in the other case, because when you mentioned the casting calls, what have you, dealing with R. Kelly, and it's the aura of being around that celebrity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then how you can get to that celebrity, and then what your daughter, your son, in some cases, right, are able to achieve to get to the money.
Yeah, I know. They're after success. I understand
After
they're
money.
pursuing dreams and success and money.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, but I'm going to go with you. You're 15, 14, 13 years old. You're not going to this. I don't know these people. I don't know who's going to be surrounding you in this environment. So I'm going to go with you.
Well, this is
right?
I totally agree. But let me tell you why they
don't.
They want to, but you have a handler a production
Oh.
assistant, or whomever
Uh-huh.
that is able to talk that person. It'll be
Oh,
okay.
I
We'll
gotcha.
have this. We'll have other guardians on set. They'll be safe.
Wow.
And if you tell them that enough, they'll
They'll
start
believe
to
it.
believe it.
Gotcha. So then there's that trust there. Like,
There's
okay,
that trust,
okay.
right?
Wow.
Because it may take 20 minutes. It may take 20 hours to
Yeah.
convince that person.
Right.
But
Gotcha.
they'll just keep plugging. It's almost like when you're at a football game in the winter. You have all of your layers of clothing when you're just sitting there watching the game. Well, the cold is not going anywhere. As a matter of fact, it may be getting colder because it's getting later in the day. The cold keeps knocking.
Yeah.
It keeps knocking. And if that handler keeps talking,
Yeah.
the more they talk, the
Yeah.
more that you're convinced
Yeah.
that your child will be safe.
Will be safe. Yeah. And that's unfortunate because then they're betraying the trust of the parents.
Yeah.
In some cases. But like with Aaliyah, bless her heart, with R. Kelly, how did the parents not know about that?
Yeah.
It just I have a hard time believing didn't they get married when she was, so that's statutory rape.
Oh yeah.
When she was
Yeah.
a minor.
Yeah.
That was on the documentary.
Oh, okay.
And what ended up happening is a lot of people don't know it. I didn't even know it. Was the parents got wind of it and made her get an annulment. So they didn't necessarily. They were under the impression, like you just alluded to, they were under the impression that she was auditioning, and and she started spending too much time there, and they were like, "What's going on?" And then he snuck her off. He got her pregnant. First of all, he got her pregnant. He was 27. She was 15.
Yeah.
He got her pregnant, and then it hit the news. R. Kelly marries, and her parents at that time were like, no.
Okay, so they were aware. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
They definitely did the right thing. Thank God.
Well, if you're just tuning in with us, we are talking about the indictment of Sean Puffy Combs, the demise of the Diddy, and all the indictments and things of that nature in the entertainment business. So, I know you all been talking about it at the water cooler or on the corner, whichever one. Give us a call at 832-560-2885 to give us your thoughts on this entire salacious situation.
Yes.
Again, this is putting you back together again, radio show on Real Talk 100 Radio. Give us a call.
Yes.
832-560-2885.
And we want to hear your verdict.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not talking about what's going on in the court of law. We know that's going to play out. But what are your thoughts? It's okay to you've got freedom of speech. It's okay to share your opinion and your thoughts and your comments. What would you do if you were in that situation and it was your child?
Yeah.
Or a relative of yours? Because what about the women who were held captives? Supposedly they were held against their will. So all the traveling he's done, all that. So did he have just his bodyguards there that tied him up where they couldn't leave the house? I'm trying to figure out.
Who knows? But he didn't do it by himself.
He was not alone.
No, he, like Michael Jackson. You are not alone. So no, was not alone in doing these illegal activities.
And guess what? They're gonna catch some cases too.
Yeah.
They're gonna be held.
Everybody, I can guarantee you, people are spilling their guts right now for a plea deal. I was there. He did that to make sure I don't go to jail or spend less time in jail.
See,
they're coming.
They're coming, and just you see all these people covered for him while he was doing all this crazy stuff. But do you think he's going to cover for them now? He's going to roll over all of them. So back to the some of the research I did on some of the key drivers of the behavior, and you already touched on the one about power and control. Yep. Another one's about a sense of entitlement.
Oh yes.
Because of their status, they think they are above the law.
Yes.
Who does that remind you of? Give you a hand. He's running for president.
And entitlement comes in various levels.
It does.
Right? We, in our lowly status of lives, right? Sometimes we can feel entitled.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
But when you get money, power, and authority.
Yes. It just shoots up.
It's very similar to when you're getting stopped by being pulled over by the cops.
Yeah.
Because you're entitled, you ask the question, do you know who I am?
Mm-hmm. In other words, why don't you stop me? Don't you know who I am?
Right. Do you know who I am? I have the power and authority to make your job disappear.
That's right. Get you fired.
So you need to let me go. Right?
That's exactly
So
right there.
entitlement, because once you get to that point, and we talked about the people that are complicit.
Yes.
When you get to that level, you surround yourself with yes people.
You do. Yeah.
And when those people do not tell you yes,
You fire them.
you get rid of them.
Cut.
Right?
Yeah, gotta go.
You want, and when you're in that situation, you want people to tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to know.
That's
and there's
true.
a difference.
Yeah, there is a difference.
There's a difference.
Yes, that's right. There's
So
a difference.
when you get to that entitlement, they
Yes.
surround themselves with people who are yes.
That's
So now there
dangerous.
could have been some people in that circle, right, that would not just say yes, 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 but have a no in there somewhere.
Yeah,
And then when that no came up, oh, you got to go.
You gotta go. That's right. Yeah.
You have to go
Yeah.
because I don't tolerate someone telling me no,
No.
because I am who I am.
And you can't challenge them. You
can't.
better not challenge them.
You can't.
But again, what do you stand for? Especially if you are a child of God.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to stand on what's right and not, all this other craziness. Okay, you lose your job. All right, God will bless you with something much better for standing up for what's right and doing the right thing. So this isn't your God. This is your false God, your false prophet. This is not your God. He's not the one that woke you up. So yeah, back to that whole idol worshiping. It's like, okay, so what? You get fired. All right. And what's worse, getting fired or going to jail? Being thrown in jail, losing your freedom.
You don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to jail.
Because guess what? The same things that was going in that house with all that rape, they might be raped when they're in jail.
Ooh,
Sometimes, don't drop the soap.
Don't drop the soap.
Hey, sometimes we reap what we sow.
Yeah, reap
Woo!
what you sow.
Soap.
Reap what you sow.
Soap. SOAP. Well, and another key driver for this crazy behavior is lack of accountability. They feel feel like they're, in this protected group because of their status. They feel protected.
Yes.
And there's so much truth to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because
untouchable.
you're not going to be, again, when you have a lack of accountability,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to have someone to hold you accountable because they're telling you yes.
That's right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but when you have someone tell you no, that's when they're holding you accountable. But because you're entitled, you don't want to be held accountable. So then, therefore,
you're out. But even beyond their employees or the people in their circle, what about in a court of law? I think they still feel like, there's no accountability, or they shouldn't be held to the same standard because of their influence, because of their status, because of their money. They feel they can just pay off these, really high profile attorneys and lawyers to get them off, and they're going to get a not guilty verdict because of who they are.
The case may be thrown out.
Or it could be thrown out.
Yeah. So, and you never know who, when you get to the indictment before you go to, they have stuff on you.
Yes.
They're not just bringing up just, fake charges.
Yeah, not pulling it out of the air.
Yeah.
No,
they've done some digging.
No, they've done some digging. That doesn't mean they're all going to be found guilty, but they've got something on you.
Yeah.
For a grand jury to render an indictment, right?
Yeah, and to be sure, because I am not better than anybody else, the court of law says guilty.
Innocent until proven guilty. So this is going to play out in court.
Yeah, it'll play out in court. So,
however,
well, I mean, because
we can still talk about our opinions of what we think, because this is a serious issue.
It is.
It's a serious issue. Yes, yes. This is a serious issue, and they've got videotapes. They've got all kinds of evidence. Yeah, it's allegations, and they've got obviously people giving their testimonies about what's going on. So yeah, they're allegations until it materializes into a verdict at the end of the trial, guilty or innocent.
and we'll see if it actually goes to trial.
Yeah, because
things can happen where it may not go to trial.
that's right. Sometimes there's technicalities and gets dismissed, thrown out, all kinds of stuff.
There are all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And then when it goes to trial, depending upon how those procedures are, it may not go to trial for a while.
I know. And I think that's going to be a long trial. I wouldn't want to sit on that jury.
Right.
I mean, I respect, that is our civic duty, but it's probably going to be a 2 or 3 month trial. But yeah, because they have to build up their case. And we have to give the defense has every right to build up their case.
Exactly.
Right. So,
exactly.
Hey,
so they have, and again, we may not like it when it comes to, there's a situation that's near and dear to me now, where the person is in jail,
mm-hmm.
and now it's going to be almost a year.
Oh.
Right, and no trial.
And no trial.
It's
backed up.
Reset, reset,
yeah.
and reset.
Yeah.
So you just never know how this will play out. We may not like it, but there again, that's the way the system is set up.
Yeah, that's right. Once you get caught up in the system, that's no joke. As a matter of fact, how many times was he denied bail? I think twice.
Twice.
They say he's like a flight risk. So, and and I'm shocked for him to have that much status and influence, and they're not even letting him out.
$50 million bail.
Yeah.
Oh, he just got granted?
No, he offered.
Oh, he offered 50 million.
And they denied it.
And they denied it. So this time money doesn't talk in this case, because usually they're out like that.
You know, just like I posted on Instagram that I got locked up, it won't let me out. But the thing is, speaking of leading up to his arrest, he was in New York anticipating something and just hanging out, casually strolling the streets with his son, taking pictures with fans and things like that.
Oh.
As if there was no care in the world. Now, I'm not sure if that's a positioning of everything is going to be all right.
Yeah.
Or you can't break me down.
Right.
But I don't know, maybe with that kind of money in a private jet.
See, I mean, he could have been over in, Europe somewhere.
What is it called? A non extradition.
Where you can't extradite.
Extradite.
Yeah.
Country.
Yeah, and there's a lot of those. So he might have been ready. Yeah, he has a private jet. He's about ready to jump. He's
you
take his.
Seen me, let me tell you.
And he's got 9, 10, 11 kids. Oh, you would have been gone.
You would.
He would have been in the wind. He would have been. He's a flight risk.
You would have seen me. I would have disappeared. I would have been poof on the.
No. If you poof disappear.
On the puff.
Well, no, wait a minute. That's what I'm saying. No, you be a man and you got to stand up to these allegations, because to me, if you do flee, to me that spells guilty. Because why are you going to run if you're really innocent? Well,
and this is true. But then some people may say, you know what, they already found me guilty in the court of public opinion. So that will spill over to the court of law.
And contaminate. Sometimes it does.
Right. So you may think, well, because there are plenty of people, this is not the subject matter, however, there are plenty of people who are in jail right now that did not commit the crime.
Mm-hmm. They are innocent.
They are innocent.
Yeah.
But the verdict was guilty.
Found guilty, yeah.
Because something happened within the trial, paperwork or what have you. So yes, doesn't mean if you flee and go someplace, it just means you don't think you're getting a fair trial.
Well, so when OJ was driving that Bronco,
he was driving 20 miles an hour though.
What was he doing? In a rush. He was just taking his time, a little leisure drive. He drove for 2 hours? But seriously, back to the statistics on sexual abuse, 1 in 5 or 25.5 million women report experiences of attempted rape. Nearly 43% or 52 million at some point have experienced some type of sexual violence. So maybe they were touched inappropriately, not necessarily raped, but they could have been touched, groped or something like that. And men, it happens to men as well. 24.8% men or 20 million men have experienced sexual violence in their lifetime.
Yeah.
So it's both genders, men and women.
Oh yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it's either it's something that exists, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The higher percentage are with women, but
Of
we
course.
cannot forget the men. And this is a very, very serious subject. In fact,
It is.
if you have been in a situation where you've been sexually violated or assaulted, there is help.
Yes, there is.
There's a national sexual assault hotline. That number is 800-656-4673. Again, if you need to reach out to someone because you've been in a situation where you've been sexually assaulted or victimized, there is help. The National Sexual Assault Hotline, that number is 800-656-4673.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Because
Yes.
and I'll add to that with some additional resources. But thank you for pointing that out. So I just gotta say, you guys have heard. Everyone has heard of the Hollywood Walk of Fame. That Boulevard, Hollywood Boulevard, with brass stars are embedded in about 15 blocks along the sidewalks there in Hollywood. Well, you know what? I think we should do a Hollywood Walk of Shame. And I think that we should have picture mugshots of all of these sexual predators and people who are found guilty of sexual abuse, rape, or whatever. And let's do that. Let's do a walk of shame, because it is just unbelievable about how often this is happening in our society.
Yeah, more so than you can ever know.
That's right.
Really, really, really more so than you can ever know. So we will. There are some jokes here and there, but on a serious note, sexual assault, human trafficking is of serious concern in this country.
Yeah.
And if you have been, definitely get the help that you need.
Yeah.
And reach out to someone, talk to someone.
That's right.
Just make that first step.
Yeah.
And getting the help that you so desire and need.
That's right.
So, it's a problem.
It's a problem. And if you see something, say something.
Yeah.
There are hotlines you can call anonymously, right? So even if you don't want to reveal your identity, or you can call the police. There's hotlines you can call, tips or something. Sometimes there's a reward, but don't do it just for the reward, but you should do it because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what about some behavior modifications? What should some things that we can look at to maybe implement in our country to make this? It's not going to completely go away, but at least reduce these offenses, right? Well, how about let's start with stricter laws, enforcing stricter laws.
Yeah.
I don't know what the penalty is it's different per state. Then you got federal on top of that. But it doesn't seem like the laws are really that strict with these types of charges.
No, even with domestic violence.
Even with domestic violence.
Even with domestic violence, for a first offense where there's clear abuse and domestic violence, that person can literally get off
probation.
Probation.
If that, we've got a comment.
Well, we got a comment. My left eye is janky, people.
Bree on YouTube says he is no longer protected anymore. Bree also says on YouTube, in Hollywood, it's common, just like the Nickelodeon and Disney Channel kids that came out, more people should speak out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well.
Thank you, Bree. Amen.
Well, Bree, to a certain degree, I would say, yes, you are correct. He is no longer protected. To a certain degree. And the reason why I say to a certain degree, because still in prison, in jail, there are protections.
Yeah.
You can still pay off people while you're in jail, right?
Yeah.
So, but for the most part, yes, he's no longer protected. And, it's unfortunate that this stuff happens in the entertainment industry, especially with kids.
Yeah, especially with kids. That just makes it worse. And kids are just, that just messes them up for years. They have to undergo all kinds of therapy. Even as adults, but if adults do, children really do.
And what happens is,
children?
because that behavior that the child experienced as a child, then if they don't get the help that they need, then they
might repeat that behavior. Yeah. And they become predators.
She said that's true to what you said about him still being protected because
because just because you're a prison or jail official you can get paid off too.
No, that happens all the time. Yeah, all the time.
I mean, all the and some of the in entertainment, movies, television shows, some of it is heightened, where it's for sensationalization to make it more appealing. However, but you got to get it from somewhere.
Yeah,
that's right, Bree. Money talks.
That's right.
That's right. Money does talk.
That's right.
And that's why a lot of people still stay around in that circle.
Yeah, and this world revolves around money. Yes, that's what we talked about.
Society.
It is. There's a lot of greed for more of what you already have, more power. Give me, just give me that. There's a song. My daughter knows the song. I don't know. Give me that.
Or give me what you got from Hope Post.
So yeah, you guys call in. Bree, if you want to call in with some more comments or questions.
Bree, give us a call at 832-560-2885 to expound on your comments. 832-560-2885 on Putting You Back Together Again talk show on Real Talk Radio 100.
And what about also another solution is more education around sexual abuse and sexual activities when it comes to something that's indecent to the other person. Some people may not feel, and I'm not talking about the extreme, but some people may feel it's okay to even make certain jokes that are inappropriate. But if it's offensive to the people you're saying it to, then that could be sexual harassment. So that's out of line, and that's where it starts. But then it starts manifesting into other things that are much worse, right? Then it starts becoming physical, touching and grabbing. Hey, if you touch me inappropriately, you're gonna get slapped.
Yeah.
I mean, there is just no room for that. That is unacceptable behavior.
Well, here's the deal. You just touched on something. I made
You just don't grab somebody.
It starts somewhere. So there had to be a ground zero.
Yes.
If you call it that, where a young lady or a young boy was touched in a certain way.
That's right.
And what happens is once you get away with it the first time,
it keeps going.
It empowers you to do it again. And then once you get away with it a second or third time, it gives you more power to do it again. Then it becomes where you're able to do it on that level, when you have dollars to recruit people to do those things.
And talk about protection that Bree was saying, when you are surrounded by those yes people, that is sort of a hedge of protection that they have. That you can't penetrate that. Because they're all covering for each other. But now that hedge of protection is collapsing. You should have asked for a hedge of protection from God. That's what you should have asked for.
Well, that was a
fence.
Hedge of protection.
That was fake.
But the real
deal.
The real hedge of protection we know.
The real thing
is the offense.
That's right. All around me.
Every day. Yes.
Every day. I know that's right. And another thing is culture change. Shifting our mindset. That society shouldn't tolerate it. Because I'm gonna tell you something. We are not going to change this type of activity around sexual violence, sexual abuse, unless men stand up to effectuate this change. It should just be women and the hashtag Me Too and all of that. Men have got to be involved in effectuating change in this area and stand up and say this is wrong and speak out against it.
Yeah, because unfortunately, there are more men that are willing participants.
Yes.
Not to exclude women.
Yeah.
Because it does happen.
It does happen.
It does happen, but the majority of the gender are men.
Yes.
The majority of the gender
are the offenders.
Who are the offenders?
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
Perpetrators. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. And then I've got some things here that, as far as the response to sexual abuse, if you know someone who's been victimized by this traumatic, because it's very traumatic abuse, one of the things you should be doing is make sure you stay calm and listen to the victim. Hear that person out. Tell the victim that they did the right thing by opening up and sharing their story, right? And because they're not to blame. A lot of times victims blame themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And they bear that burden.
Yes.
And it just really weighs on them
It does.
mentally, emotionally,
It does.
spiritually,
It does.
physically.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
they carry that with them, thinking that they are to blame.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're not.
And a lot of times they may not want to press charges because of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Or to relive
Mhm.
that situation in the court of law.
In a court of law.
Yeah.
Because guess what is attached to that? Shame. They feel ashamed. You know,
Yeah.
and hey, it's not your fault, ladies and men who have experienced this. It's not your fault. And call, child abuse hotlines or hotlines that we're referring to help you out, and get some further guidance, some comfort, some support, and offer emotional support to that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very important to do.
Very, very important.
Yeah. And the additional resources, you already mentioned the one, and there's a national a sexual assault hotline. Now this one is RAINN, RAINN.org. So it's RAINN.org. Also there's one called victimconnect.org. And then there's one, oh, I love this one, Darkness to Light.
Mm.
Now, doesn't that sound like our Savior, Jesus Christ? Because he is the light of the world.
He is.
So that's the light that we need. So the Darkness to Light, that is www.d2l.org. Yeah. So some very good resources that I hope you guys can leverage and take advantage of.
And speaking of, and we're focusing on the sexual assault, sexual victimization, and rape and things like that. But also we touched on human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
So that number for the National Human Trafficking Hotline is 800-373-7888. National Human Trafficking Hotline, 888-373-7888. I had the great pleasure of emceeing a couple of events for United Against Human Trafficking organization here in Houston, which they are doing some great work in helping survivors and reaching out to those who are victims. I mean, some absolute great work. So even there's a local resource that you can tap into, United Against Human Trafficking, right here in the city of Houston.
You know, I don't know that we have, some churches do, but I'm not sure if our church has a human trafficking. I know we have a domestic violence ministry, but maybe we should look at a human trafficking one too, because so much of that is going on now, especially our babies. We have got to protect our babies. How do we reach them? How do we educate them? How do we inspire them, lift them up? Because I bet you a lot of times these children are from maybe abusive households, because something is drawing them out for that type of attention. You're right. So they're experiencing some really negative issues at home, maybe abuse or neglect, to make them want to walk the streets or get entangled into these types of situations. So we need to help our children. And we've got to do this together collectively. It can't just be 1, 2, 3 conversations about it. No, we need to put some action to what we're talking about.
Absolutely. So make sure you all utilize those resources. That if it's not you, but maybe you know of someone, right, that confided in you, provide them those resources so they can get the help that they need.
Right.
So when people like Diddy and R. Kelly and Epstein and whomever, those people will be limited in doing.
We've got a call coming in.
Answer the phone, Malcolm.
Hi, caller. Thank you for calling into the show. Who are we speaking with?
Yes.
This is Angela. How you guys doing?
Hey, friend. Hey, Angela. How you doing?
I know I've been MIA for a hot minute, but I mean I had a new position at my job, so I've been super busy, and our schedules have just been crazy. So
congratulations. Yes.
Thank you.
Well, so tell us what's on your mind. We want to hear from you.
It's so funny because God must have been hearing me, because I literally just had this debate like maybe about a couple of hours ago with one of my best friends, because she's on one side of the spectrum and I'm on the opposite side. And so we were just kind of debating the politicians that are running for, presidency. And, there's a lot of things that I was telling her that, I just didn't agree with. And one of the things that we brought up was just that. I was telling her, I was like, instead of them talking about how they're going to make changes to help, our children, I was like, not to protect them with a better stance of having like more rigorous, consequences, for people that, are abusing our children.
Right.
And I was telling her, I was like, so that was kind of one of the things that I was like, like that's what I wanted to hear about, because you hear about it so often.
Yeah.
And in my case, I was like 14. Yeah, I was like 13, 14. And so just kind of a little bit of a backstory. I was raised by my grandparents. My dad passed away when I was 13, and my mom really wasn't a part of my life during that time. So my grandparents raised me. And there came a part where, there came a time in dumb teenager stuff. And so I was constantly running away from my grandparents' house because they were super strict. Now that I have children, I understand why.
Exactly.
But at the moment, was like, no, so my aunt, one of my aunts, took me in to live with her. And there came a moment where my uncle was like, he attempted to rape me. And I fought, and I was like, oh, hell no. And what did I didn't stick around for a second attempt. I literally grabbed my stuff and was like, deuces, we're not doing this. And when I told my family, hey, this is what happened, nobody believed me.
Wow.
And that's very common in a Hispanic, and it's not in every Hispanic family, but it's very common, especially during that time, that it's very common for Hispanic families to cover those type of situations. And it's sad. It's very, very sad that, what I'm saying? Like you're traumatized by the moment, and instead of your family being supportive of the situation and, like helping and trying to find some type of solution or some type of like even therapy or something, I was like, like they were like, oh no, she's lying. And it became a whole big ordeal. And there was a lot of like family, drama between it. But, I look back now and I'm like, wow, like, in that situation, because my dad wasn't around, and I even told my uncle, like after he attempted, I even told my uncle, I was like, you better be glad my dad's not around, because if my dad was around, I said, yeah.
I'm so proud of you that you
Yes.
stood up to
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You did a better job than some adults do. And you're absolutely right. There is a lot of denial going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that just makes it even worse when
And
you
not
don't
just-
have the support.
Right.
Listen, the Hispanic
Exactly.
families,
But you know what? I kept my faith, and I was like, you know what? God doesn't like ugly. This man has dementia now. And like, I've seen him a few times. And even like my cousins have been like, you're not going to go say hi to him? No, I'm not. And I was, and I, my thing is like, God doesn't like ugly. And in this case, he's suffering so much more now.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Where nobody wants to deal with him. He has dementia. Nobody's caring for him, stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I mean, I hate to say that, but I was like, you know what? I pray for him, but at the same time, you know what? I mean, the things that he did and he's done, I mean, honestly, probably deserves it.
Deserves it.
Yeah, because you probably wasn't the first family
That's
member
right.
that he attempted that.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Nobody came, and don't think anybody came forward. Like the other, like my other female cousins, like from what he told me, I don't know if it was true or not, but from what he had told me is that he had done it to one of my other female cousins, and that he was like making it seem like, oh yeah, she was okay with it. Like, she was okay with what I was doing, and she like basically allowed it. And I was like, really? And then I just kind of was like, well, that's weird, you know. But like I said, after that situation and I came forward, nobody, not my aunts, not my cousins, nobody came forward. And I was like, wow, that's just crazy.
So essentially, because of your cousin that happened to before you, and now he felt entitled.
Right.
We were
Yes.
talking about
Yes,
back
he
to
felt
entitlement.
entitled.
So, Angela, let me ask you this. How did how did it impact your relationships with men as you got older and started dating? Was there any impact there and how you related to them? Or
Well, I think just in general, like I'm like now, you know what I'm saying? Like even then, like I was very precautious about being alone. Like you know what I'm saying, like being alone in a room with the male.
okay.
You know, it was like, you know, I was always like very precautious about never being in a room by myself with somebody of the opposite sex. Like I was like, you know, somebody had to be in the room with me or I would leave. Like I would just go find me a little corner until, you know, it was time for me to leave for whatever reason. So I noticed that even now as an older adult, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm constantly, even whenever I post pictures of like my granddaughter, you know, if I see that a male is commenting or hearting it, I delete it. I'm like, no, sir, no. You know, I was like, nah, that's not happening. So yeah, like if I see like, you know, if I see that like there's commentary or like on any social media, right? If I see there's commentary or if I see like, you know, like somebody that, you know, is a stranger, I will delete it. I'll delete the picture.
And block him.
Yeah. So now let me ask you this, Miss Angela, you know, with that developing, you know, your relationship with men growing up, now that you have kids and, you know, when you were raising them, did you teach them about being aware around and being touched on not being touched unwantedly? Was that something?
Right.
Kids?
Absolutely. Like with my girls, I have two girls. One is 27 and the other one's 18.
Right.
But because of that experience, it was like, you know, oh, mom, can I go spend the night at my friend's house? No, you cannot. You know, it's like, can I have, you know, can so-and-so's, you know, blah, blah, blah. Nuh-uh, no, you cannot. I'm sorry. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
no. And they don't.
My youngest is a little more headstrong, whereas my oldest is a little more like she's shy, she's more reserved, she doesn't like to cause drama, she doesn't like to cause like, you know, bring attention to herself, whereas the other one, she's a fighter, she does not care. She has no cares.
She got that from you.
Yeah, she has no cares about telling you like, no sir, I don't feel that is appropriate, do not do that. Like she will like, it's so funny because over the summer, her and her best friend and our family and my brother, we all went to a water park together, and my brother got a little too close to her friend, and you know, he was having a conversation, and I guess he must have like bumped her or he got too close to her. And my daughter was fast to point it out and was like, excuse me, sir, like you were in her personal space, like, and I mean loud, in front of everybody. And he just kind of looked at her like, what are you doing? Like he's looking, like you could tell he was uncomfortable and embarrassed by it. But in a way, I was kind of proud of her because she was defending her friend, right? She was like, yo, like you're getting too close to her. You're a male, you're an older male. You should not be this close to this girl. You're like, she's a teenager, you know? And I'm in my mind, I was like, I know it wasn't intentional, like on his part, but it made him feel uncomfortable. And that to me was like, so that means to me that if anything like that were to happen to her or one of her friends with a stranger, she's gonna say something.
Yeah, that's good.
Say something.
Say something. Well, you taught her well, and you instilled in her the right values, and you know, to be strong. So I appreciate that, and thank you for your vigilance, for being so vigilant.
Oh yeah.
And you're absolutely right that there are stricter laws around pets than there are around children and child abuse.
And that's crazy. Yeah. Like, you know, you will be penalized harsher for bestiality than you'll get a slap on the wrist if you do something to a child. That's just crazy to me.
I think Michael Vick, you know, the football player or former football player, you know, he got caught up in all the dog fighting stuff. Scandal.
Mm-hmm.
He got what, 10 years or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, but, well, it was long
It was long enough, and a child abuser might get 10 months, if that.
Mm-hmm. It's that.
It's
that.
backwards. It's backwards. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
So, but back to the point about vote, vote, vote. We've got to vote for the right people so that we can get these laws.
Correct.
Yes.
But thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thank
thanks
you.
for calling in.
Yes.
Oh, definitely. I know. I just happened to look down and I saw it and I was like, okay, I'm pulling up to a parking lot. I can like watch and pay attention.
Before you go, Angela, this is Malcolm.
Before I go, what? I didn't hear you.
This is Malcolm. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Before you go, I have a question for not only you, the listening audience. This question is also for the host and the co-host. Did either of you witness? I'm bringing this up because of the no value for children topic that you're on right now. Have either of you seen the video on either Instagram or TikTok?
Mm-hmm.
A young lady named, I believe her name is Annie.
Mm-hmm.
Don't quote me on her name, but she has a very heart-wrenching story. I saw it on TikTok.
Yeah.
And her question is, it's rather long. I'll show y'all after the show. It's rather long, and she touches on exactly what y'all are touching on. And she says, everybody is talking about all of the big time celebrities that are about to get brought down, but nobody's talking about the kids.
Right.
And she was one of the children that Puffy allegedly called a party favor, where he would sit the children 12 to 16 years old on a table, and people of all ages and all races and colors and sizes and whatever would do whatever they wanted to these kids. Have y'all heard of this story?
Oh, no, I have not. That is just, no.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. But that's what I'm saying. Instead of politicians talking about eating cats and dogs, you know,
right.
You know, Haitian immigrants, why aren't we talking about this kind of stuff? About these
exactly
children being abused.
And honestly, I think the reason why he doesn't touch the subject is because back when he was part of it. I don't give a shit what anybody says. And the thing that kills me is that you're still okay. It's like you're even you know, even Robert was like, I don't, as a man with a wife and a mother and sisters and daughters, how is it that you think that I'm okay with him saying, I'll just grab him by the, you know, the kitty cat and that, And he was like, I would never in my life say some shit like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's just crazy to me. But people are like, oh, well, you know, it's, you know, his personality is a little off, but his politics, he's never been a politician.
Mm-hmm.
He's never been a politician.
Yeah, never. It's narcissistic. It is.
Narcissistic entitled.
Yeah.
That's basically what it boils down to.
So,
and yes, you're right. We need to have more guardrails and protection around our kids, our innocent kids.
Yes.
Back to legislation and getting the right elected officials into who can drive and push for these types of initiatives and new laws to be enacted.
Yes.
So
definitely. Oh, and Malcolm, whenever you post that, if just in case I'm not on, if you could just send me the link to it, I would greatly appreciate it. I'd like to watch that.
Yes.
I got you.
Angela, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate you.
Yes, thank you so much for letting me come on and chat with you guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll still be online watching.
So we appreciate it.
Yes.
Take care.
Sure, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
One more thing before y'all get back into the show that she touched on. I didn't want the caller to be held on too long, so I left that out. But the child also said that foster homes and CPS is about to get.
They're the worst.
Oh, this girl
is about to get too. She said that she's a part of the CPS program, and they allowed P. Diddy's plan to recruit CPS children to be party favorites.
But you know what?
The CPS.
That's not far. I've seen shows,
Yeah.
TV shows, where Child Protection Services was involved. Well, not the organization, but bad actors in CPS that are involved in funneling kids to these individuals because of money.
But back to exploitation. That's what we were talking
Yeah.
about. It all goes back to more money, more power, more status. You know, you want to roll the dice, you get caught, you're going to pay the penalty, and these people have to be held accountable.
Yep.
And so, what type of screening and oversight are they doing with people? And I know there are a lot of good people that work for CPS,
Yes.
just like police officers. That they aren't all bad, but there are some bad seeds in all these different organizations and politicians. So we've got a lot of work to do in this country. We really do. A lot of craziness. I mean, we spend more time, politicians, more time talking about insignificant stuff that doesn't matter than about things that do
does.
matter. Yeah. So any last thoughts you want to share before we wind this up?
Well, you know, just again, the resources we talked about for those who have been sexually assaulted or you know someone, 800-656-4673, and also for human trafficking, 888-373-7888, and also locally for human trafficking, United Against Human Trafficking has some great resources out there. And if you know of someone who is being abused, bring it to the light.
Please.
Bring it from the darkness to the
The
light.
light.
Yes.
Please do. Yes.
Is this the correct number, CJ?
Verify the number.
Yeah, which one? Which one?
800-656-4673 for
Correct.
the National Sexual Assault Hotline.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
You had more numbers?
No.
Okay.
Well, there was the National Human Trafficking Hotline, which is 888-373-7888.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that organization was what?
National Human Trafficking Hotline.
we can make a difference in the lives of one person.
Yeah.
We are making a
Progress,
really big difference, progress, productivity. And, you know, God will be pleased with us. Well done, good and faithful servant. So too many women have been exploited, objectified, and violated with acts of sexual abuse. And collectively, like we were saying, we need to take a harder stance against this behavior. That's why it's so important to elect the right people, as we touched on, to office during this election cycle, because we need stricter laws enforced to punish the offenders. Enough is enough. And men or women in power should not be able to abuse their power. And if they do, let's hold them accountable. We have a presidential candidate, as I talked about, who's running for the highest office in the nation, but who's allowed to be president even with the conviction of sexual abuse. Does that make any sense to you? I'm just saying. So you can help rewrite this playbook by voting. Your vote is your voice. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. Be sure to follow us and like us on social media. I love you. And be sure to love yourself. And we'll see you next time.
Yes.
God bless you.
Everybody, thank you for showing up tonight for
Yes.
the Putting You Back Together Again show. Putting You Back Together Again show. We want to make sure you go and follow Putting You Back Together. She is a motivational, inspirational life coach. She is also a travel agent. She's a sponsor of her own show. Her name, can I give you a government name, ma'am?
Yes, you can.
Her name is Miss Rochelle Booker, everybody. Y'all go and give her a follow on social media at Putting You Back Together Again, LLC. She also has a beautiful website. And the gentleman, her co-host, his name is CJ.
Yes.
He's an actor. Go ahead and tell them what you are.
Actor, producer, now get into screenwriting, MC, live host, voiceover artist, and all around decent guy. Decent guy.
All right, y'all. We want y'all to tune in to the Putting You Back Together Again show every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. for more topics such as you heard tonight. If you're tuning in late, This show was about P. Diddy or Puff Daddy or Diddley the Diddler, whatever you call him. Sean Puffy Combs, that's what this was about. How do you feel about him? You're more than welcome to chime in on YouTube, wherever you're looking at, on Facebook, on Instagram. Chime in now. Chime in all night long about your feelings and share the video. We'll see y'all next Tuesday night on the Putting You Back Together Again show on Real Talk 100 Radio.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3.